neighbor to the north, while inside our production truck, Nick's father, Terry, who will have the only connection directly into Nick's ear throughout the walk, listening and really watching him as he acts as his de facto coach and spotter. And a crossing that at long last is now upon us, Nick Wallenda, a seventh-generation daredevil, walking with his family's legacy. History awaits. Nick Wallenda, The Wire, and Niagara are yours.
As you see him gingerly test his steps and assess the tension on that wire, the movement of the wire, he's told us in his experience that the hardest part of the walk is often that very first step. You have to hit it right, Josh. Once you're actually on the wire and you're committed, you're focused, but that first step, that's the point of no return.
It certainly is. Certainly for a man as proud as Nick Wallenda.
See him dragging that safety harness behind, and that is something that he has never walked with and has been doing this, walking on a wire, since age 2.
That helicopter shot.
He has got to be crazy.
High above.
Be like walking on that damn bridge, Steffi, when you showed me in Colorado.
Terry in our production trailer,
he's bouncing.
Tells us doesn't really get nervous about his son walking the wire. The crazy stunts that he's pulled off make him much more nervous, hanging from a helicopter by his teeth.
You mentioned Terry, again, his rigger, safety coordinator, and his father, the man with the direct link to Nick right now. Let's listen in as father and son take this walk together.
That ain't damn sensitive. They wouldn't have let him do it.
Just remember to change your rhythm of your steps just a little. Everything's looking good. Thank you, Lord God.
Yep, and Lord.
Thank you, Jesus.
Must be his dad talking.
Josh, Hannah, as Nick approaches the lip or the break of the falls,
answer a question or two?
you're told 1,000 times to not look down. Don't look down when you're in a high place. But that's not Nick Wallenda. He always looks down to see exactly where he is, and this is the first terrifying visual obstacle of this walk. The lip or the break. We've shown this to you from our vantage point under the falls. It is that 700,000 gallons of rushing water per minute over the edge. The rapids right leading up to the edge are going about 25 miles an hour. When they get to the edge, they've been clocked at 65 miles an hour in a straight down plunge to the deepest part of the Niagara River. It is about 140 feet.
It looks like he's got a metal thing from his waist attached to that line, so I don't believe he could fall far.
Turbulent pitch straight down the edge of the falls.
We are in, again, and thank you, Sam, the beginning of the walk. This is the first of
across.
the descent as he makes his way down a decline of 5 to 6 degrees on his way to 35 feet below where he began. This, he's repeatedly said, is the most difficult part of the walk.
I bet more people watch this than damn boxing match.
With the weight
And
again,
Obama's
with the
speech.
tether on the back, something he's never worn before.
What is that?
As he makes his way to the wet zone and over that lip. Tense moments indeed.
Josh, you can see the movement on the wire from our vantage point, and we heard his father telling him to change the rhythm of his steps. That's because if he maintains the same rhythm of his steps, that wire, that movement of that wire will become more and more pronounced. So that's the one thing that's under his control that he can do is change his rhythm and hope to keep that wire much more steady.
Take your time.
The shoes are magnetic. Looking good.
You're doing good. Doing good. You're halfway to the next potential. You're doing fine. How's your harness feel?
Feels fine.
He does have a harness.
What about, do we have some insects bothering you or anything like that?
No, nothing like that.
Thank God. How about the birds? Birds says, what are you doing up there?
How's
Down
it been
there.
for you?
Nothing yet. Nothing yet.
Good.
I don't think them birds like him up there in their height.
Really started having to deal with that.
As you mentioned, Sam and his father, for 36 years, a wire walker himself, married into the family. As you mentioned, his father, the worrywart of the family. Time and again told Nick Wallenda to give up this dream specifically, a dream more than 2 years in the making. That's how long it took Nick to ask the governments of both the United States and Canada to allow this. This had been illegal since the 1890s, and time and again his father Terry said, Nick, it'll never happen, to Nick's perhaps eternal credit.
Well, we've talked to Terry about the fact that he was a wire walker for over 3 decades, but essentially he came up as a rigger. He went to circus school. He married into the Wallenda family. This is really in Nick's blood, and it's something that Terry comes into and has married into. And luckily for Nick, his father is a safety expert, not only his coach, but really helped, along with his uncle, who's a NASA engineer, design this very specific wire just for this event tonight.
Damn rocket ship headed to the moon and where he's at.
Opportunities to speak with him, however briefly, and as he arrives to that
Actually,
lift
I don't want
and
either one.
stares 20 stories down into that maelstrom. Let's see if we can visit with him very briefly. Terry, Josh Elliott, Hannah Storm, can we talk to Nick right now?
Well, iPhone hold down good.
Yeah, I think
7 minutes, it ain't said I quit yet.
All right, Nick, it's Josh, and as you move over that lip, arguably the single most dramatic sight of all, what can you see?
Oh my gosh, it's an unbelievable view. You know, I'm so blessed to be in the position I am, to be the first person in the world to be right here, and the only person in the world that will ever be right here. It's truly breathtaking.
Don't have to worry about me trying to beat your record.
It's astounding that you seem to actually be enjoying this experience, Nick.
He is.
You know what, I am. Gosh, a long time in the making. This is what dreams are made of, people. Pursue your dreams. Never give up. Mine might seem strange, but anybody that's dealing with any battle, focus on that other side. You'll achieve your goal, achieve your dream, and beat any battle with anything.
Good deal.
Shot high above Niagara Falls. Incredible to believe. Nick, very quickly, as you entered the wet zone, family so important to you, so much a part of this night, and I know that you have something of your mother's, your homemade shoes that actually are going to help you maybe grip that wire a little tighter with the homemade elk skin on the bottom of those moccasins.
That's correct. These shoes are made by my mother, and it means so much to me to have a piece of my family alongside with me. You know, family is important to me. My beautiful wife, my 3 beautiful children. To have a family that supports me, even when I have crazy ideas like this.
Well, except for your death voice.
If you mentioned the concern about the movement of the wire, how is that right now?
Feels pretty good right now. You know, one of the challenges I'm having right now is visually, because everything is moving so quickly underneath me, I can't see the wire move, which actually becomes a challenge because I can't prepare for it as it moves. But so far, so good.
Nick, we're going to leave you to it, and we thank you for letting us join you for a tiny portion of your travels.
Thank you, guys.
Well, how do you like that? poise and composure as he does what no one ever has, as he attempts this feat that no one ever would. He seems so unnaturally calm.
And yet, trouble looms as he arrives to the wet zone. And this was where that microclimate of Niagara can wreak such potential havoc on this walk. You can see the blinding mist kicked up from that water, 700,000 gallons per second, cascading 20 stories down. The effects on his visibility, on his grip on that wire, unknowable until he is out there alone. A man, a wire, and a balancing pole.
He is about a third of the way, almost a third of the way to his goal of arriving in Canada, becoming the first man to ever walk over Niagara Falls. And again, the wettest area here, it may actually change 3 times by the time he's finished with this walk. You can just see the water is dripping off of that wire.
Damn, Steph, you hadn't called, I would have missed all of this. Of course, you would have too, because you went to sleep. And I wouldn't be videoing it.
Can you hear me okay with the roar of the falls right there? Yeah, I hear you fine. All right, good. I want to make sure you can be able to hear me every step there. It's looking good, Nick. I mean, you're doing a great job.
Thank you, Jesus.
You're doing a great job.
The only thing I'm not happy about is that pendulum that we hung the weather station on.
Yeah.
You know, it's moving a lot. It's catching wind.
Yeah, it's catching a little more wind, but you're going to get past that reasonably soon. So, you can feel straight. Nice, calm steps. Everything's looking good.
To Nick talking with his father, Terry, discussing the weather conditions and how Nick is making his way through them. Let's go down to our weatherman.
What's that word? Down,
What
man.
is Nick facing at this moment?
Hey, Josh, right as they had that conversation, we picked up a 14-mile-per-hour wind gust just ahead of Nick on the wire.
Ooh, Lordy.
And the real problem here might not be the speed of the gust, because if you're looking at it, you can see that mist is driving and hits him constantly on the left side of his body. That would be fine. He could get used to that, but it's swirling. It goes from southeast to south to southwest, and then it kind of goes around even over his head. So it's not only going in the compass direction, but it's kind of wrapping around him, all the way over and under him as well, and that's the concern. That's what he was talking about, picking up a little bit of gust there. Also, it is just so wet. Josh, we've been looking at this now for 2 days. Have you ever seen it this wet?
Sam, I have not, and you're right. We've been locked onto this for 2 days. About 13 minutes now into his walk, as we take a look at just how far he's gone and yet how far he still has to go. And you can see just how alone he is in the middle of that madness. And yet, it's something he has trained his entire life for. One of the longest walks in his career, to be sure. Let's review. He did this by walking on a wire. In fact, twice as long as this, almost 3,000 feet in length, to make sure he'd have the endurance to do this. And as we showed you before, he did it with that fire hose pounding away at him, and a wind machine blowing 55-mile-an-hour gusts.
But there's
into his
no
face.
way, Josh, that any amount of preparation could simulate what he finds here. And the one thing that he did learn from all of that practice that you just detailed was that he was uncomfortable with the fact that, and as you look at that mist and you can visibly see the wind because the mist and because of the lights that we have along his path, he said that he thought might be disconcerting to him mentally, and that might be distracting. He's used to feeling the wind and dealing with the wind, but not actually seeing it as he is tonight.
And to that point, this is certainly a feat of endurance, of strength, but as we we bring in Bill back in the United States. Bill, this is a man of singular mental fortitude.
Boy, is he ever. You've got a sense of that talking to him, right? You know, he reaches the bottom of the valley now. He's going to start the arduous climb up. Something to watch for. It is Walenda tradition for him to stop in the middle, pull out his cell phone, and call his wife, Erendira, who is now on the Canadian side with their kids waiting, hopefully, for his arrival. But his kids said, you know what, Daddy, you don't have to call this time. Why don't you just get over? And you can understand their concern when you see what looks like tropical storm conditions. His daughter also wanted him to wear her Hello Kitty sunglasses as a good luck charm. He said, sweetie, it's at night. I don't need them.
He's all lucky kid, though.
But you can't really appreciate until you get up here and actually touch this wire, feel the way it moves and sways with every step. It's like waves in a swimming pool. Every step sends a shockwave to the end and then comes back. He's very deliberate. And his best friend, Chris Rippo, who's up here holding on to the wire. He's got guys.
Why is what I want to know.
This is a test of a true friend. Chris hates heights. He hates looking at this. Yet he's doing this for Nick.
You know, Nick, what I wanted to let you know is it was 40 years ago when your great-grandfather walked to Lula Forge. I think that's pretty amazing that you're doing it 40 years later.
God is good. What an amazing opportunity. What a blessing. Oh, God.
Okay, coming up on another pendulum here.
How I praise you, Jesus.
Take your time there. Good. I'll get there.
Oh, Lord, you're my Savior, you're my King, you're my Jesus, you're my
How's
counselor.
how's the water on your feet, Nick?
Praise you, Jesus. It's good.
All right.
Really, really wet.
Yeah, more to this. Like being in a rainstorm.
Most water is wet. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Lord.
How are your arms feeling?
Look at that thing move.
Praise you, my Father.
How's that harness? It's not cutting off any circulation.
No.
All right, great.
Just feel like a jackass wearing it.
Jack, what?
No, it still looks awesome.
Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, my Father. Is my family over there?
And as we listen in on Nick Walenda talking so calmly with his father Terry, who's in our production trailer, this is what he faces now. This is what we're calling the climb. Just out of the valley, it may be a little bit more stable. You saw that wire shaking, a little bit less likely to be affected by that microclimate, perhaps a chance to take a bit of a breath. Nick hoping that this section of the walk at least gives him a mental break, a little calm to gear up for the end. So he's done that tricky downhill walk at the beginning, the wet zone, so dramatic, and in the valley, and told us, Josh, he actually likes going uphill. It's sort of like walking upstairs. You can actually see what's in front of you. It's easier to see the wire and center yourself. So it made me preserve himself, because what he faces ahead is even tougher than this.
Fuel tap, reserves that he has built in over years of training for this. And I do want to set the scene. Just here on the Canadian side, we heard the whoops and the hollers, tens and tens of thousands of people waiting for him to finish the walk, and it has gone absolutely silent over here. I can only imagine that scene being repeated in millions of homes around the globe as we all sit and watch in utter and complete awe.
Yeah, I'm just kind of wondering now, what the hell, who's going to go out there and get him if he does follow me hanging from that way? Maybe a helicopter. crazy. 20 minutes and 12 seconds. Oh, I found pretty good on video. Canadian said, yep.
Allow us to welcome Nick Wallenda to Canada.
Oh, my
As he
Lord.
crosses over the border again, some 60% of the way or so through his walk. As he makes his way uphill, he'll be
In a minute
doing
now,
so
this video
in
is going to go
Canadian
away.
airspace.
Not enough
And
room
for
for
those
it.
of you wondering, especially on social media, Twitter and Facebook, yes, Nick Wallenda, in addition to that 40-pound balancing pole, is also traveling with his passport.
As we want to check in with his father now, Terry. Terry, it's Hannah and Josh. Would now be a good time to check in with Nick?
You know, I think Nick's ready to answer a couple more questions.
Oh, hell, he could be illegal. I don't care.
Nick, tell us what has been most
He don't need to
challenging
carry his
for you so far.
passport with him. In other
You know,
words,
that mist was thick, and it was hard to see at times. It's been a challenge, and it's all been visual more than anything. You know, it's so important, as in the earlier piece, that my vision, and I'm able to see and able to focus. And it was very hard to focus. There was so much moving around me. Wind going one way, mist going another.
water doing the
It
other.
wasn't pretty, that's for sure. Very uncomfortable for a while. And that mist was, that wind was wild.
What the hell that
You know,
was.
I'd heard all the stories, but to actually feel it, you know, it would come at me one way and then hit me from the front and then hit me from the back, and it was definitely quite a challenge. And you know, nothing that I wasn't prepared for, but more than I expected, that's for sure.
Nick, if this was a race, and make no mistake, it most certainly is not, but you'd be rounding that turn and making your way home. As you do that, I wonder, we've said, and it was all postulating, all theory, but that you did enjoy walking uphill as opposed to other parts of this walk. How is it as you make your way up to terra firma?
You know, I'm strained. I'm drained. You know, this is so physical. Not only mental, but physical. And fighting that wind isn't easy. And my hands, actually at this point, feel like they're going numb. I feel like I'm getting weak.
Why didn't you wear glasses
You
and
know, I'm
gloves?
just looking at that prize on the other side, and, you know, that anticipation is building. And I just want to get in there. I want to get through that home stretch and hit that finish line.
And Nick, what is it that will carry you to that finish line?
You know, pure endurance. Endurance, and this audience that's here that I'm hearing at this point, I'm just starting to hear them, believe it or not. Those falls are so loud that until now I haven't been able to hear them. But I'm hearing them, and that's what will get me across to the other side.
And apparently they are hearing you as well.
What's up, Dad?
You're doing fine. Just
I don't see how he walked down it. I don't see how he walks up it. I don't even see how he walks across it. Awesome.
We have entered the last steps, but we have come to know is the final test. And this is where the training, the conditioning will pay off. We heard Nick himself just say he is drained. And who could blame him? Remember, he's been on the wire now for almost 25 minutes, but
He made it.
I can only imagine the adrenaline now will take him those final steps. As he kneels, he drops to a knee and smiles and points to the crowd, acknowledging them, exhorting him home. Again, emotionally and physically, what a struggle it might have been, but now, steps from home, steps from the loving embrace of his family, and steps from history.
Sam Champion has a bird's eye view of it all. Sam, what are you seeing?
I'll tell you, we are standing here on the platform, Hannah, as he is just making his final way, edging over. I am here with this
made it. The video made it. I can't believe iPhone had that much video in it. Memory.
This is apparently a tradition, and you can see he's getting this smile on his face as he gets closer. That seeing Uncle Mike holding the tension on that wire lets him know that he's home. He's almost home. We have officials from Canada on the platform here who will be here to greet him. He will make his first connection with them, as is law. And he will kiss and hug and hold his beautiful family in just moments.
He made it. Look at him.
Minute of the walk. Sprinting to the finish.
Ran.
He breaks the tape. Nick Wallenda.
He done.
Making his way into history. I hope you were with us to see it all.
I was. Thank you.
Anytime soon, Nick Wallenda.
Unbelievable.
Walking some 1,500 feet, becoming the first person to traverse Niagara Falls directly over the falls themselves, hugging his uncle and acknowledging the crowd, blowing kisses before beginning the process of processing himself.
Also, his uncle Mike, the NASA
Wow,
engineer
26-minute video. I can't believe it.
built this wire, was so instrumental in getting his precious family member
Yeah, this
safely
is Steve
home.
Apple.
And a feat that, frankly,
Our jobs.
Nick Wallenda made look so easy, but we know all too well it was not easy.
Everything paying off. Now, Sam, who are you standing there with?
I have got a beautiful young lady here who might have something to say. Do you have something to say to him?
I love him and I'm so very calm and I'm so happy that this is over.
You looked so calm when you were standing there watching him, but what were you feeling?
There's no words to describe.
Feeling your hand around their waist.
My husband has been so inspired by him and I hope that everybody who watches this will be inspired and never give up on their dreams. And I'm so crying.
Well, show her, dummy. There she is.
Fantastic. Before we even say more than 2 words to you, there's a little thing you've got to do officially now that you've stepped onto the platform. So I think Canada has something they need to say to you.
Well, hello, bonjour. Welcome to Canada.
Can I see your passport, please?
Oh, no. Yeah, I think it is here. Got it in a little pack here.
I heard that's how you were going to carry it. Go ahead, Ricky.
Passport
No,
into
I'm not carrying
Canada.
anything over, I promise.
There's Janice Napolitano.
Give you Canada. Thank you.
And what is the purpose of your trip, sir?
Oh,
To
my
inspire
God.
people around the world.
Wow. Thank you.
You certainly did. Welcome to Terra Firma in Canada.
Thank you
now,
so
okay,
much.
we watch you, and I can't even believe your face is as calm as it is the entire way. Is there a point
28
that
minutes
you know,
in.
I got it, I just got it?
You know, you can't get to that point. I have to be concentrating the entire time. I mean, when I got through the mist, that was definitely a confidence builder. You know, the mist was so thick, so challenging. Those
All right,
winds hit me from
he
every
made it.
direction.
I can't
Was
believe I
definitely
got
more than I
30-minute
expected,
video
for sure.
on
And
an
my
iPhone.
forearms start to tense up, and at that point, you just feel like running it if you could, but you can't. You got to take your time in step by step.
Hey, we are so happy to see you here. Josh, Hannah?
Yeah, Nick, again, this was, a stunt more than 2 years in the making. You had to convince 2 countries to even let you do it. All the high-tech gadgetry, NASA engineers by your side, controlling as many variables as you could. But in the end, what was the most surprising thing about the walk?
You know, it was definitely those winds out there. It was just something that you can't explain. You can't reenact. You can't recreate. And I said that all along. That was my concern. And in the end, that was the issue.
But Nick, what was so stunning to us at home, and this is Hannah, by the way, and congratulations, by the way.
I can't believe it's almost
Pulled it
30
off,
minutes.
and it seemed like in record time as you sprinted in at the finish. How were you able to stay so calm during that walk?
You know, a lot of praying, that's for sure, and that helps a lot. But, you know, it's all about the concentration, the focus, and it all goes back to the training. You know, in the middle of the wire, at one point, I just started thinking about my great-grandfather and paying tribute to him and all the walks that he did and he was successful on. That's what this is all about, paying tribute to my ancestors and my hero, Carl Wallenda.
Nick, tonight, what in your mind is the legacy of the family Wallenda?
I
30
think
minutes.
it's been brought up a notch, or I hope so anyways. This is something that no one in the world has ever done. And I was able to complete it successfully, safely. Even though I had a tether, I didn't use it.
We want to check in with your dad. You had a running conversation for most of that walk, and he's in our production truck. So, Terry, if you can hear us, what would you like to say to your son?
Hey, Dick, I'm very proud of you. You made history and you made the family proud. I'm thrilled that you had the opportunity, but I'm even more thrilled that you made it safely to the other side.
Thanks, Dad. I love you.
I love you too, buddy.
And that's it.